A woman found 2 stones by accident, although they can't be used as food, but they were crucial for the long night ahead, because the temperature difference between day and night on the island is too great. In order to protect herself from the cold, the woman gathered the dead branches on the ground into a pile. Then she picked up 2 stones she had found earlier, and rubbed them together. Although the sparks were successful, but it was more difficult than expected to ignite them completely. But fortunately, the woman was quite resourceful. After a moment's thought, she quickly found the key to the problem. She grabbed her belt cushion. She pulled out some cotton wool from it. With the help of the combustible material, the problem was instantly solved. With just a few simple strokes, the dead branches were easily ignited. With the protection of the campfire, we don't have to worry about wild animals attacking us. The night was uneventful. Until the next morning, she woke up in pain. She looked up at her feet. Her face turned pale. She didn't know when her feet were covered with ants. It took the woman half a day to clean them off, but her legs were still covered with red bites. To prevent the ants from attacking again, she tore her clothes into strips of cloth and wrapped them around her injured legs. Under such circumstances, the woman didn't dare to stay any longer. She had to find fresh water as soon as possible, because if she doesn't starve to death, she would die of dehydration. She didn't know how long she had been walking. The vegetation in front of her suddenly became thicker. She knew she was not far from the water, so she didn't care if it was dangerous or not. She went straight into the bushes, but just as she stepped in, there was an itching sensation on her legs, but she didn't dare to scratch it with her hands. She just tried to pat it as hard as she could through her skirt. Luckily, her will was still strong. She kept going. She didn't realize that the test of life and death had only just begun. The woman just woke up. Suddenly she felt something surging in her chest, but when she stared at it, she was immediately shocked into a cold sweat. A python thicker than her arm was slowly crawling across her chest. The woman held her breath, trying to imagine herself as a log. She didn't dare to make a sound. She's afraid of disturbing the python. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Luckily, the python was just passing by. It's not interested in beautiful women, but the woman was still scared. She didn't dare to stay too long, so she stood up trembling and fled deeper into the forest. But before she could take a few steps, she felt a strange itch on her feet. She quickly lifted up her skirt to check. Only then did she realize that her legs were now covered with small bumps from the ants' bites. No matter how strong her will was, she couldn't help scratching them. Until now, the woman finally felt fear. She regretted that she shouldn't have rushed into this dense forest in search of water. Now it's a good thing. Not only did she fail to find fresh water, she lost her way. What's worse, she hasn't had any water or rice for days. If she can't find any more food, the forest will be her natural grave. Just when the woman was feeling desperate, her feet suddenly slipped, as if she had stepped on something. She bent down to check. It was a coconut that had fallen from a tree. The woman was overjoyed, but the fruit had already rotted completely. It was too rotten to be eaten. But when she looked up the tree trunk, she felt even more desperate. There was nothing she could do about the fruits on the tree. The top of the tree was so high. Even if she was as strong as before, she could only look on in despair. And now she didn't dare to hope for anything more. With a shred of faith, the woman was like a zombie. She continues to walk through the jungle, but her hunger was far more ferocious than the beasts. Gradually, the woman's consciousness began to blur. She had visions. She saw a village up ahead. It seemed that someone was calling to her. Unfortunately, her body was too weak to support her. Then her eyes went black. She lost consciousness.